All right. When I tried to call him,
Yeah,
it took you and threw you to the wind.
it threw me to the wind.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told you. I said it's going to be one of those things where we're going to have to just work through the little blocks that are coming up because just like when we commit to a 90-day transformation, I always tell my clients, I say, you'll want to do this work, but everything in the world is going to come up to stop you from doing it
Yeah.
because this is defining work. And the negative forces out there don't want us to really shine bright in the hues of our own intentions. They'd rather us be weighted down and circling. So.
Yeah, what we're gonna have to do, and I don't know how this, whatever we got on video, I'll put on the video screen, whatever's there,
Mm-hmm.
and that. So at least we have that, because the rest is forget about it. It's forget it. It's boof.
So our whole show got crashed
Yeah,
by
got
Skype.
crashed by
That's
Skype.
awesome.
By Skype.
I'm sorry, I just snorted. I just think life is so interesting. I love it. You know,
No, I'm telling you. I mean, that's never. It only happened to me once before when they changed over something on Microsoft. And the funny part about it is they do it at the weirdest times, especially when
that's okay. So are we still on the air?
yeah.
So are there callers listening? Okay, so and
No,
then Larry, we
all the
and
callers can
Larry,
go on the
Larry
radio on
okay,
the
and
things. The what's is the chat room is open, so they can write in the
okay,
chat room. I
okay,
can see that.
okay. Well, and but Larry can't come on the radio show
Wait,
right now. There's
I'm
something
working.
going
I'm
on.
working on it.
Oh, you're still working on it. Okay, I'm trying to micromanage. I just had that conversation with the client this morning. I'm not trying to micromanage you, I promise. I couldn't. Who could micromanage you?
Now, you see, according to what I've gotten now from them, let me see, Microsoft. Yes. Whatever I'm getting from them, and that is that I can only take in one caller at a time.
Oh, they really did change it then.
Yep.
That's all right. You know all the tricks around it, but we won't be able to do it for this show, is what you're
No, what
saying.
we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the conference line. Up to 1,000 people can be on at the same time. It's the same way
Yeah.
everybody dials into Blog Talk Radio. It's exactly the same thing. You put in a telephone number. There will be telephone numbers just by clicking down a little menu that's on the screen. Just click that
Yeah.
menu. Any country, anywhere in the world can call in then to that line on this show. So that's what we're going to
That
start
I,
using.
I I think that that's what the universe wants. I think the universe just decided to unskype. We broke up with Skype today, a little bit. We
Yeah.
half broke up.
Well, I'll save you my
we,
breaking up.
we went into a well, what did we? We're not in. We went into an open relationship, so now we can blog talk and Skype.
And you talk
Well,
about
and that's
you talk about the peanut
what
butter and jelly.
the what?
You talk about the peanut butter and jelly. Okay,
The peanut butter
now,
and jelly. Yeah.
let me see. Let me see. Maybe I can do it from here. Doo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo. Come on. Okie dokie. Now, 206-530. Is that what I used? We got about 7620.
Yep, that sounds like it. I don't know why that song "Mad World" is going through my head. Oh, I hear the bubbles. I hear the bubbles.
Well, when he answers, you can say hello.
I can talk. Oh, I'm so excited.
That's his number.
Good afternoon.
Is this Larry Snyder?
Wow, I can't believe it. technology has come through. If you're patient, it will eventually come through. It just depends on what's going to live.
Yeah, and if you're patient and you have Bob Charles at the what I call the cockpit, because literally what he just did, I don't think very many people could recover from as quickly. I'm not joking. This happened within maybe 5-7 minutes of getting us back on, and he is. I just want to thank you, Bob, because I know that's not an easy thing to do, and as quickly. He's smart. He's super smart.
Yeah, but then again, nobody hates Microsoft as bad as I do. So
we won't get him started on that. Yeah. Larry, we were just talking and we were chatting about space. Like, I just noticed that you're in Washington. So you were saying, did you say you were in Kirkland? I like it.
I'm actually on my way back to my home office. So.
Okay. I grew up at White Center, and I'm from the hood.
Yeah, well, I actually grew up in Des Moines, so just down the way, Kelly, not too far from you.
Actually, I love Des Moines, and I've spent a lot of time there, and I've spent a lot of time in Kirkland too. So Kirkland and Bellevue, the whole east side, is just so beautiful. And I guess Des Moines would be like our Kirkland, technically, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's true.
Would you agree?
You got it.
Yeah, definitely. And
I'm just a bigger fan of the salt water, is all.
Oh, me too. I actually moved out to the mountains. I'm up in Ashford, and so I miss the water a little bit, the salt water, because I don't get down to it as much. But yeah, I grew up there. I lived down on Alki Beach for a while.
Oh yeah.
It's several.
Nature's energy and love from there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's a very. I kind of liken it to a Twilight Zone as well, because I lived there, and so
right.
Alki. Or maybe I was in the Twilight Zone when I lived there. I lived there at 2 different points in my life, but it is absolutely beautiful.
Sure.
I remember you contacting me a while back, and then when you reached out just recently, I was really excited because I mean what I say when I respond to people and say, to reach back out when the show comes up, let's talk. And so I was excited you did. And I know that you have a book that you wrote, and that's what makes me really super excited. I want to create a platform for people to come and talk about what they've done in their work. So you have a book, it's called Which One Am I? I'm just looking on your Facebook page, 12 Extraordinary People Like You. But don't you have another book too?
I do. The first book that I wrote is called 10 Years in Tuscany, and although it's not related to self-love, most of what I learned by living in a small village in the eastern part of Tuscany where no one spoke English and there was only 250 residents there was, in fact, that to really be successful in what I mean successful, just to live an enlightened and happy life in a situation like that, you really do have to reflect a lot on the love in your own life, but also throw out an immense amount of love to the people for whom you are trying to communicate with, but because they don't speak your same language and you don't speak theirs, it's really about the gestures of love and the extensions of really a lot of the nonverbal behaviors that we had to just literally show them that we cared about them because we couldn't necessarily tell them.
Wow, that's beautiful. Immediately I was thinking you probably, at the end of each day, your cheeks probably hurt because you were smiling so much to show them you were happy.
Yeah, absolutely. It was also, though, really, again, an opportunity to use a lot of the other senses that we have and a lot of the other behavior communication styles that we have to get our needs met, and one of those is just the extension of gratitude, obviously, but really looking for ways to tell people things in behaviors that we couldn't necessarily tell them in words.
So you're talking about social cues, movements of the body,
and also just doing doing things. I'll give you a really specific but simple answer. The family that lived across the dirt road from us in this little tiny village called Montanare, the father, the patriarch of the family, really loved truffles. Okay, and so truffles are used in lots of different parts of Italian cuisine, especially in some of the preserved meats, for example. So I would, when we were out and about traveling around in the countryside, if we could find a place to buy salame with truffles inside, I would stop and buy one for Primo, and I would give it to him in the wrapping that the purveyor wrapped it in, and that was an extension or a sign that, again, we really care about him, but also, too, I was trying to give him something that I knew he would love, and also it was a sign of love from us to them, even though we couldn't flat out tell him that, but we could show him that. So, anyway,
right.
That's a
beautiful story. What comes to mind is that, remember, when we learn what people like, it's a part of learning that part of them that we love so we can surprise them, right? Like grandma likes lemon cake, or, mom loves coffee-flavored ice cream, something along those lines. It's a way to honor in a way that bestows a gift without having to bring up all the words and the gushing that goes along with it, right? You're able to give him a gift of love without making him feel uncomfortable almost, or what do you think it's something like that?
Well, I think it's that, but I think it's even more than that, because when you don't have words, when you don't have a common language, you have to find a different way to communicate. And if you spend all of your time in thought about how you're going to communicate with someone that doesn't have similar words to yours, you really do have to not only think a little bit harder, but you have to act harder. And I loved that process. It was a lot of fun. And we go back, Jill and I, my partner and I, and our daughter, whose name is Daniela, we try to spend about 3 or 4 weeks a year still in this village, but living there for a year is different than staying there for 3 weeks, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I like how you said act harder.
We had never met these families before either. Before living there for a year, we'd never met them before. So that was again, a really, really good lesson in how to communicate love without using words.
Right. I think of a book that comes to mind, and I hate to bring it up when I haven't read it, but people that I know have, and it makes sense to me when they tell me about it, and it's the 5 love languages.
Right.
How we express love, right? And when your first language is taken away, you do have to fall back on some of the other languages that you might not know. And in the 5 love languages, there's 5 different ways that people express and communicate love. And if you are a human being that only is aware of your love language, and if someone's not getting your love language and you don't understand how to look outside of your own, there's a lack of communication, there's a lack of perceived love. So traveling, being with your first language taken away, in a long-term commitment, which is a year, so you're really looking to be a good part of the community, would be a beautiful way to step outside yourself and really and create that language and figure out different ways to show it. Yeah, that must have felt amazing.
Yep. So that's the book 10 Years in Tuscany is about being part of a community that requires, again, the love of each other, but also the love of the self-love, obviously, because you can't survive in a situation like that if you don't practice self-forgiveness, which I happen to see as a form of love, but self-love, but also if you're not willing to just like you said, step way outside your normal self because you don't have that as an option, it wouldn't be a good experience, but it was a phenomenal experience. And so it's been a joy to not only have the experience, but to look back on those incredible memories as well.
And do you find that there is a way that you were seeing them change, how they were communicating with you near the end of the year? Were you able to?
Yes, because we were now part of their community. So everyone knew that we were eventually going to leave, and we were there from March to March, so to speak, in 2004 to 2005. But the one thing that there's several things that I realized that were huge aha moments for me as a human being. The first thing was that in this particular village and in a lot of other small villages in Italy, everything that the neighbors needed was really within less than a drive of them. And what I mean by that is they all operate within this relatively small space, relatively small being a community of 250 people, that's an agriculture area, so it's we'll call it a little spread out, but really it's small by American standards. But they care about each other so much as a community that I'll give you just a basic example. So it's a one-lane gravel road into this village, and the residents of the community, when the road has too many potholes or whatever, they don't wait for someone else to take care of the problem. They just go to the neighbor that has the tractor and says, "Okay, we've got a load of gravel coming. You have the trailer, I have the tractor. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, let's just meet out on the road and we'll just knock this thing out." And so they don't. Again, in America, we're like, okay, whose responsibility is this? This is the county, This is the city, this is the state. But they don't do that there. The other thing that we learned, too, was during the vendemmia, which is the name for picking of the grapes, they asked the community, they didn't really even ask, everybody was just waiting for the date as to what day the community was going to get together and pick all the grapes. And they pick the grapes as a community, crush the grapes as a community, bottle, put it in the big barrels, and then bottle it as a community. And then for the whole year, everyone that was involved in that process has wine available at no cost to them. They just go up to the cantina next to Primo and Francesca's house and fill up their little 3-liter bottle, and they've got wine. And we did the same thing with the olives for olive oil. So the love that we saw in that community, we try to bring back to our lives and here in America. But it's a different place. It's a different system, and it's really fun to return there because all those feelings come back about community in its most organic form.
Oh my gosh. Literally in its most organic form. I'm so moved by that story. Self-love is community, right? We have to take care of our own. And I try to always remind people that, home and hearth first, home and hearth, and then your neighbors, your community. If we all did that, the whole world, the love frequency would change immediately. I live in a small town. I'm about 250 people. I'm at my little store up the road, and everyone's coming together like, oh, I picked these apples from so-and-so's house, and they're going to do this, and everyone's coming together to make a pie, right? And I'm sitting there listening to this going, this is beautiful, right? People are still community here. They're still sharing, giving, helping each other. You talk about getting the tractor. My cousin has one, and he would do our road all the time if there were potholes. There's never where whose responsibility is. It's how can we bring this in and take care of it now? And that's the crux of self-love, wouldn't you agree? How can we take this in and be love right now?
Yeah. I think part of it is that, and again, I don't know that we'll ever have in our community in the United States, even though I'll never stop trying, that same sense of interdependency, which in some people's world is not a good thing. But to me, I've seen how it is the best thing is to have interdependency, where I do need my neighbors and the people around me to be available and not have it be any kind of an imposition to ask them as such. And we've gotten some of that in our community, in our neighborhood, but it's still really odd for 100% participation. It might be 40% participation in a community project if we're doing some landscaping in the median in our neighborhood or something like that idea. But it has to be organized. I can't just send a text message to everybody and say, okay, 9 o'clock Saturday morning, we're all going for it. Bring your shovels and your gloves. It just seems everybody,
right.
Okay, I need to put it on my calendar 30 days from now, blah, blah, blah. And
yeah. Nobody even wants you to call them to ask them that. They want you to send them a text that they can respond to 3 days later, right? We've lost touch with ourselves. And that's the gist of this show, and that's the gist of the work we do, is trying to really get people to be interconnected again. Like, it's an inconvenience for someone to call someone these days. They're like, oh, my God, my phone's ringing, right? And there used to be a day where people would look forward to that. Oh, the phone's ringing, everybody's running to get it, right? Who's calling, right? Is it Auntie, the uncle? So we've lost touch with ourselves only because I believe we've grown so quickly. I don't think it was ever meant to be that way. I don't think it's because people chose not to be interconnected or to support each other. The numbers have changed significantly, and if you look at a small village of 250, that place needs to be protected in Italy. That's gorgeous. I want to go on vacation there. I want to live there for a year like you did to experience that.
During the summer, we'd love to show you what this little island that we have been so grateful to discover has just really it's contributed to some of the best memories of our lives, both as individuals, Jill and I, but also as a family with Daniela. And that's really what 10 Years in Tuscany, the book, is about. There's also a couple of short videos on YouTube. If you just put in the search bar 10 Years in Tuscany, TEN Years in Tuscany, and that gives you kind of the visual beauty of it, but it also, one of the videos is very people-centric, and some of the characters in the book are featured in that video. And my biggest dream for this project, Kelly and Bobby, is to write a screenplay that demonstrates this love of each other. And I have been. It's been on my near the top of my list, but other priorities keep bumping it down a priority or two. But it's definitely a giant dream to put this story in motion.
I think it would be beautiful, and we'll have people on the show, or if it comes up that I know anyone. I'm a connector. That's what I love to do, and man, that would be a beautiful screenplay.
Yeah, maybe
definitely.
We'll just cast you as in the movie. How about that? That would We'll all be in the movie business before we know it, and having worked for a short time, you don't want to be in the movie business. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay, good. Well, it's one of the things I have on my list of things to do, too. Self-love allows us to actually be the dreams we are thinking of. Everybody who's listening out there today, Larry got to call in late. We had a couple technical difficulties, which I call just happening. This is a great first pilot show to me. Larry, you're an inaugural guest. I know you'll be coming back.
Wow.
And you're in Seattle. We could talk together. Definitely. Everyone out there who listened, thank you. Larry, thank you for calling in. Thank you for saving the show. Skype crashed us, but you brought us back up literally within 10 minutes. So that's amazing.
Believe it or not,
incredible, Bob.
Yeah, believe it or not, I have John from Australia, from our other studio down in Australia, and he even said to me, he says, "You did what?" Anybody who's out there listening is probably thinking, that was like seriously a super bad thing right there. It's just, and I didn't even reach out for a while, so I knew what he was doing. I'm like, I'm not calling, I'm not bugging him. That's all right. Next week, though, let me interject. Next week, I don't know whether you guys have called Blog Talk Radio before, but you'll be able to call into these shows exactly the same way that you do calling into Blog Talk Radio. However, 1,000 people can call in on this line.
And I actually just want to, I know we're running a little bit over here on our time, but I want to just make this affirmation to the world as a spirit. It literally is a promise I made to Mother Earth and God about 2 or 3 years ago that I wanted to do a show where we had like 1,000, like this mass meditation or this something going on. So I think we've just been primed for it. If 999 people could call in and do a self-love meditation, we are right on track.
Yeah, and you see
great.
The good part about something like that is you can. I mean, let's face it. How many people do you think now? Everybody can listen to anywhere in the world. They can listen to this on TuneIn or Streama. TuneIn or Streama. So there's no 90% of the people who listen to radio, especially the internet radio, is on cell phones.
Right.
On demand.
Right. So we are loaded. This is on. All these shows are on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All you have to do is put in Pyramid One Radio, and you're there.
Good.
It's very, very true. So you'll be able to hear the shows back. You'll be able to share them.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Larry.
No. I was just going to say, I will definitely share this. I just need to know how you want me to share it. And before I forget, Kelly, if you want to, I will just share the site if people want information about 10 years in Tuscan.
Please.
My site is LarryJSnyder.com, and my last name is spelled SNYDER, LarryJSnyder.com, and I'm happy to answer anybody's questions about where self-love comes from in a little village in eastern Tuscany.
Right, and I'd like to have you come back and talk about it more. So maybe you could call in on Monday and we could start talking and share more of your story and your vision, and then we could have some callers call in and maybe ask you a question or me, and I think that would be really fun if you're up for it.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
I'd love to, and I'd love to share more about which one am I, because that's really the current thrust of me out helping people figure out where their self-love's coming from.
And that one is really what I wanted to get on too. I was scrolling through my Facebook page because there's 5. Can you tell me? There's 5 what?
Sure. There are 5 extraordinary gifts that everyone possesses, and their lives, not only self-love, but just the completeness of life happens when they are out sharing them. And that's really that was the genesis of why I wrote that book, was because I went through a process of self-discovery that kind of put 5 different gifts that I already had in my hand, and I discovered that my complete life, so to speak, or my happiness and joy comes from when I'm out sharing them. And so that's really the message of this, of which one am I, is helping you discover what those 5 extraordinary gifts you possess are, and how your life will be even more complete with sharing them.
That's perfect, because you know what? I think that's our lead up. We got to meet each other, spend some time. We got to talk about Tuscany and self-love in the small community. I would love for you to come back next week and talk about the what am I, the 5 what am I, the extraordinary gift we each have. So please do. I'll look forward to that. And thank you so much. It was wonderful connecting with you today.
You're welcome. I will let you know I have another 4:30. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Oh, Bob.
Okay, and you can also, your people that can also write into Bob Charles Show at live.com. They can write into that, and I'll send them anything they need. Links, numbers, anything.
Sounds good. We're going to have our intro and outro soon, but until then, I just want to thank everyone who supported me. I'd like to thank Pyramid One Network for having me. Bob Charles, thank you for your immediate support during the show. And everyone out there listening, Conscious Speaks Radio is growing. It is a place where we're going to come together and gravitate like bees to honey through the airways of time so that we can grow and love each other and share stories and find more about self-love and really make it a household common ingredient in our recipe of us. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned, and I love you.
I was just saying about the peanut butter and jelly. I mean, peanut butter, really, it is a relationship.
I don't keep your peanut butter.
Everybody is probably laughing their butts off, and you know what? I'll see it all over Facebook tomorrow. Peanut butter is sticky. So that's going to stick you into the relationship, and grape jelly is sweet, and love is sweet.
Oh, that's sweet.
So there you go. I mean, if anybody wants to, come on me and say, no, it isn't. Well, go ahead. Let them do it. Kellie J Wright, awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And like I always say all the time, right? When you have problems, they're just another step in another direction that opens the door to more opportunity. So let's take a ride down the road together. It will be awesome. God bless y'all. I'm Charles.